Welcome back to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be going through a prediction for the U.S. House. We'll be going through a couple of these districts here, giving an idea of which way the country is leaning on the national landscape to give us an idea of which party is favored to win control of the U.S. House. So we'll start here with the Kalshi Betting Markets map, and this one is the one that I generally tend to trust. I tend to trust the betting markets more than the polls, just because the betting markets require, at least theoretically, require people to put aside partisan bias before they tell their opinion, just because they are using real dollars instead of just a opinion poll that could really fluctuate quite a few ways. But with that map, it is very advantageous for the Democrats. It brings Democrats to 234 seats to Republicans 196, and that is before the true competitive ones are even called. There are very few in the true competitive column, really only 5. There are a couple in the tilt red and a couple in the tilt blue, but for the true toss-up, there are very few of those. There are currently only 5. There are a couple of interesting instances throughout this map. We can see some seats that really will most likely be safe Republican that have been moved to likely. A couple notable instances is we have North Dakota and then the 2 congressional districts there in Utah that will almost certainly end up in the Republican Party's category. The ones that are around Salt Lake, well, all 4. And then we have a couple other interesting. We have Texas, which will definitely be a state to keep your eye on. This state kind of started off the whole, at least the most recent round of congressional gerrymandering that resulted in 5 seats being flipped for the Republicans, in favor of the Republicans. And it is kind of interesting. You can see here around the Democratic central areas like Dallas and Austin and Houston, there are quite a few districts that are in the likely margin. Some are even in the lean. These were drawn to be safe red, so it is interesting to see that they are still have the slight possibility of still going blue in a really good year for Democrats. And at the moment, it is looking like it will be a good year for Democrats. I wouldn't quite say amazing, but definitely good. It'll be interesting to see if it's 2018 level good or 2008 level. There's quite a difference there. But for Texas, it will be interesting to see if any of that congressional gerrymandering potentially backfires and it ends up resulting in a Democratic seat that was not drawn to be that way. And then California responded with Prop 50. A couple other states have done some mid-decade gerrymandering, redistricting, whatever you want to call it. We have Ohio, which redistricted, and then a couple other states, Missouri. That seat that is in the lean red column there in Missouri was drawn to be safe red. It took out previously held Democratic district there in the Kansas City area and drew in quite a bit of rural Missouri to make it more friendly for the Republican Party. And that brings them to 234 for the Democrats. And I do think that Democrats will win control of the House. I'm more confident about the House than the Senate. This has been a pretty reoccurring instance. Generally, the party that is in control of the executive tends to lose control of Congress, sometimes just the House, sometimes the House and Senate. I do think the House is far more likely, so I definitely, at the end of the day, do think Democrats will be able to take back the House. I think they're well positioned for it to be a good year for Democrats. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.